Also, I forgot to put this here in the video, but I did put a poll up a few days ago asking you what you think is going to be. Will it be good or not? Most of you, for some reason, at least half of you are saying it will be, which iffy, but some of you don't even care. And to be fair with you, this comment did mostly point out very well enough. However, the only thing I will say is about the CC. Yes, so there has been a slight downgrade in CC rewards over the events, but we don't know if they're going to have it or not, so we're just going to have to wait and see for that moment being. Alright everybody, welcome back, and we got ourselves another video that is still TOP related, but it's actually still different. I also want to point out at the moment I spent about 20 minutes chatting the absolute most, but unfortunately I never recorded. Because, you know, it's been a while, alright? It's been a while since I last recorded on a computer, alright? Calm down. Mostly on the phone, but it's the best way to showcase stuff. So yeah, we're going to have a look at the future of TOP, what they think they're going to be doing, and what are my thoughts on it, and what I think is going to happen. So yeah, let's get into it straight away. So yeah, update is going to be this fall, and we'll see a major overhaul, and obviously it includes into Guild Battle as well. What I believe that's going to be is, it's going to be before Legends Fest this year. It's going to be Legends Fest this year when it happens, most likely, so I'd say near the end of November. But if you want to be somewhere in the middle, I'd say October, somewhat late October. I'd say just like a week before Halloween. That is when I think the earliest this could happen. For all I know, it could happen as soon as this reset happens. But it says this fall, so September to November. My best guess, and a safe guess, before Legends Fest. But a more egregious and early guess would be a week before October, a week before Halloween. That's when I think it's going to happen. But now we're going to have a look at the main changes. And the first one up is the removal of specific abilities for characters. Meaning the entire thing of Super Baby 2 being the best healer is going to be thrown out the window. Because he doesn't even have any heals in his normal kit. I'm more likely going to be wrong, but the only thing I know that he does have is health restoration, damage inflicted, and sustained damage cut. And sustained damage in his main ability. That's the only thing I'm aware of. But obviously I'll have a double check on that. But anyways, let's have a read, shall we? Since we don't like to do that. There's the whole point of why they're actually getting rid of this here, as we'll see in a minute. This will be a significant change, although format and descriptions for characters in standard battles have been updated to be far more concise. Understand them reads as no easy task. In other words, they're saying, we know our player base cannot read, so we're going to get rid of it. Which is basically, literally, we can't read. Dragon Ball fans cannot read, and I don't want to bother reading. I myself am somewhat in that thing, because there is some things I am specific, but it's very niche things I don't understand about characters properly. Because there have been times where I've been caught off guard, because I was, wait, hold on a minute, I should have gotten myself something here, but I never did, but besides the point. Anyways, having to understand the abilities in addition to standards become a high barrier of entry. Removing the specific abilities and artifacts will reduce the amount of ability information displayed for each character and streamline the gameplay experience. I mean, fair enough, they want to give people a bit more of a concise experience, as I say. So, reducing the amount that's needed to read and understand the characters, fair enough. Only thing I can say, that's fair enough, because it is made for children. At most at the age of 16. Actually, when it's 16 and over, what am I doing, children? I'm talking like this is from fucking 40, I'm not, I'm 20 something, alright, calm down. Alright, we don't need to have this. But anyways, yeah, no, it is going to be iffy per se, because most of us have gotten used to this here, and Godku is not going to be the best character because of his turn 1 super attack, because he doesn't even have it anymore. Super Baby 2 more likely won't have any heals. Although, they do say, although this will remove strategic elements, we plan to compensate it by adjusting existing gameplay elements like health stats boost and team member placement. So they don't say anything about like giving characters specific buffs. So like Super Baby 2 won't have any heals for Regen or GT, which is going to be a bit of an issue, because I don't think there's actually really any healers for those teams unless you press your main ability and you give heals to allies, like I think Bombku can do. The recent Zenkai. I'm not too sure, but from the looks of this here, Baby 2 is not going to be any good of a healer. He's going to be mostly useless unless you want to use him for Zenkai stats, which is basically the only reason I actually is still standing on the team. is mostly because of his Zenkai stats and his good heals. And then any character before 2023 is going to be completely useless. So 5 years of the game, useless. The original Super Saiyan Goku, useless. I mean, as if he was good to begin with, but besides the point. So yeah, any character from before 2023, more than likely, because for all I know, it could be some point in 2023 as well that it could have been even useless. But any character before 2023, completely useless, no point, 5 years of the game wasted down the drain. So any character from 2023 onwards, gonna be great enough, is the only thing I can think of. And my best guess is that instead of like 321,000 that Super Saiyan Goku Zenkai stats max arts boosted with 99 in the blast, he's gonna have possibly near like 400,000. They're like gonna buff up. That's a bit egregious, but that's besides the point. So like they're still going to be given TOP specific thing. Like this is the weird thing about the Warden. It's like they're removing specific abilities and artifacts, but they're still gonna boost certain characters. And we'll get on to that in a minute, because the next point is going to be about the tiers. As we see here, removal of tier bonuses. We'll get into that in a minute, but that's for a different thing. So like, they're still going to be boosting old characters, but keeping newer characters the same because they're all fucking phenomenal. In regards to their kits, they're actually pretty good. So essentially, Majin Vegeta is going to be having a field day in TOP if you're able to make yourself a Strike Majin Buu Saga team. But yeah, no, again, that's the only thing I can think of, is that there's still going to be TOP specifics, but only for like very, very old characters. That's the only thing I can think of at the moment. So yeah, next up is going to be the tier bonuses, and as we can see here, we will remove tier bonuses calculated from usage rates for each season, and instead giving advantage to specific tags and/or episodes each season. In other words, we're still going to be giving in the tier bonuses, but instead of characters, we're giving it to tags and episode. They're giving it tags and episodes. In other words, one season, Universe Survival Saga, going to be great. Next season, going to be Saiyan. Next season is going to be Fusion Warrior. Next season after that, Universe 7. No, not 7. 6. Like, again, that's the way it's going to be working. They're still giving the bonuses, so like, first season, Saiyan's going to be the best team. They're going to get like a massive 40% boost. Then the season after that is going to be GT, going to be getting the 40% boost. They're still giving the boosts, but only to tags and episodes instead of just any character. So like, they're not removing it per se, they're just deflecting it away from certain characters. Fuck me, that voice crack. But giving it to tags and episodes. There's no removal, it's just making it different. It's just adjusting it to have it for these things. And the only thing that, again, that's the example I permitted for how it's going to work. Like, season, like these 5 teams, one season could be these 5 teams going to get a Z tier, these 5 teams going to be S tier, these 5 teams A tier. Like, you should be able to still be able to do TOP, get a good score, keep within your league if you have at least an A tier team, hopefully. Then after that, it's going to be like B tier, like it's doable, but you might get demoted, and then C tier is just mostly useless. Like, I think, hopefully, now I'm hoping A tier is still going to get you staying in League Z and not demote you to S, but I can't confirm nor deny that. I know the Z and S tier is more or less guaranteed, and I don't know what way the boost is going to work. For all I know, it could be 40, 30, 20, 10, 0. Like how it is, like instead of, it's like 20, 10, 5, 2, 0, or 1, whatnot. But again, I don't know, because there hasn't been any updates as of the moment of me recording this here, which has been over at least a week. Because as we see up here, it has been the 29th of August is when we got the update. It is now the 9th, the 5th of September, and there hasn't been anything yet. So, yeah. And then the last thing, fewer stages but 2 attempts. This one I actually don't mind, because it gives us YouTubers who actually cover TOP a chance to test out these, like, certain teams. So, like, you can make it through, so we can test out and say we could possibly make it through with an A tier team, but if it doesn't work, we can try again and try it with a Z or S tier team, and they can make it through, and then we can just continuously test out characters, test out formations, test out the pattern is correct, and then we can give you an insight, which I actually don't even mind. But yeah, we'll have to actually read this here instead of my own words. The current number of stages will be reduced, but you'll be able to make a second attempt at completing the first. If you earn a higher score, you will overwrite the previous score. In other words, and actually I'll read this here, you will not be required to play through a second time. This change will only allow players to adjust their characters and teams and aim for high score. In other words, if anyone, I doubt it, for whatever, for good reason probably, if any of you play Solo Level on the Rise, because the only game that comes to mind at the moment, if you've ever played the Power Destruction Workshop, Power Destruction Battlefield of Time, or Guild Boss, you know for a fact that if you do like this score here first time, but then you go back into it and you get a better score, it'll overwrite that score. Except for Guild Boss, so that's the point. But this is the way it's going to work. So in other words, do one score, retry it, you get a better score, that score is going to be your main score. But if you do worse, the first score is going to stay the way it is. And you've only got 2 attempts to do it. Which, fair enough, but I don't know. Because again, it's going to mess up most of us. Like me, Azdeek, Greenruff, Doomjita, Andy 8 Gaming, and I think I know one more, but I can't think off the top of my head. We are all going to have an absolute field day with this here because we've got absolutely no idea. And we're going to be absolutely killing ourselves over it probably. I can't speak for anyone else because I don't contact people who you think I am a social expert. But I just know for a fact that we are probably going to be shriveling ourselves over this here, and there's nothing we can do about it. Because we spent over 113 seasons as of me recording, playing the same game mode. We've read kits, we've understood characters to the degree where we know what teams can work, what teams don't work, what units to use, and what way to build characters and attack formations. So it's going to be difficult to adjust. That's all I will say. These TOP changes, I will say it's going to be very nice, but it's going to be very difficult to adjust. And whenever these changes do come out, and you don't see anything from me or any other creator, then you know because we're still trying to figure out what the hell we are doing. So that's the only forefront I will give, that we might have a more difficult time getting anything out. But otherwise, I don't mind it. Other than this here, like, this is the worst of it. And this one makes no sense. Because they're still given tier bonuses. And even then, the TOP specific abilities are still giving certain characters TOP specific buffs. So it doesn't make sense. That's all I gotta say here. On a scale of 1 to 10, I will say it's an iffy. So, yeah, fun times whenever this ever does come out. And I shall see you all in the next one.